Hello everyone, welcome to SAM IELTS YouTube channel. Well, this channel actually consists a lot of information regarding the IELTS. So the IELTS aspirants, both IELTS academic and IELTS general aspirants can actually watch this channel. Also, the people who really want to improve their English skill can continuously watch this channel with subscription so that you can actually get a lot of information regarding the English. You can actually watch the videos from the basic level to the advanced level, which you can actually use in your daily conversations, which eventually increase your English proficiency. So, why do you want to increase your English proficiency? So, the thing is that if you really want to climb up your professional ladder, then of course your English level should be improved. Alright, without further delay, today let's get on into the Band 8 tips for IELTS speaking. Okay, let's deep dive into the topic. Well, in the IELTS speaking, you actually consist of 3 parts, part 1, part 2 and part 3. Whereas in the part 1, you will be asked 12 questions basically of 3 topics or 4 topics. It is a varied topics. You need to understand that what the examiner is actually expecting from you in the part 1. First of all, listen to me carefully. When you enter into the examination hall, the examiner will ask you 4 questions. What is your full name? How may I address you? Can you show me your ID card, please? Well, these questions are not assessed. So, you don't worry about telling the answers. For example, the examiner is asking you the question like, what is your full name? My full name is. Tell in the sentence, however, you need not worry about your vocabulary. Tell the answer in just one sentence. Alright, once you complete this thing, your recording actually starts, which means your speaking part 1 actually starts. When the examiner starts asking you the question in the speaking part 1, he will actually record the session. So you don't worry about the thing. Okay, so first of all, if they will be asking you some question which may be either related to the hometown or something related to your work. Okay, so this is the very first question that the examiner will ask you. So you better prepare for the topic called as the work as well as hometown. For example, I'll ask you a question and I'll tell you a sample answer. Okay, and I will break down the answer. Alright, so the first question the examiner is going to ask is that, okay, what do you do? What do you do? Which means, are you working or studying? This is the question. Okay, I am going to give an answer. Listen to me. Well, I am a psychologist. I have been working under a XYZ organization for 5 years. Listen to me. In the first answer, I have actually introduced myself as a psychologist and I have used the filler. Well, is it for filler that I have started my answer? Also, I told about my profession. As well as in the second line, I have been working, which means I am trying to use the present perfect tense. Still I am working, still I am doing something. So you may use the present perfect tense. The examiner will split out your answer like this only. So he will actually check on for the fillers, he will actually check on for the extension answers. For example, I'll ask you another question. How often you went to picnic during your childhood? Listen to my question. How often do you went to picnic during your childhood? So, the examiner is asking the question in the past tense and I am going to answer like this. Well, in my childhood, my parents were very stringent and I often go to picnic. It was just like once in a blue moon. You heard it correct? It is like once in a blue moon, which is a phrasal verb, which means very rarely. So, you try to impress the examiner in the part 1 section, where you can allow to use a lot of idioms and phrases, as well as you try to use the present perfect tense. Also, you try to use the complex statements such as even though, although. For example, the examiner is asking you the question, do you like to cook? And I am saying that it's not my cup of tea. However, I am a fuzzy eater. It's not my cup of tea. So, I am telling the examiner no. I am just using the phrasal verb. Also, I am giving the examiner, I am a fuzzy eater, which I am telling the examiner that I am a choosy eater. I pick and eat the fruits or something of that sort very specifically. Okay, so like this, you need to use a variety of answers to the examiner in the part 1. Always try to use the synonymous words which would actually enhance your marks. For example, the examiner is asking you the question, do you like to go to fishing? Yes, I like to go to fishing. Do you like to go to swim? Yes, I like to go to swim. Do you like to cook? Yes, I like to cook. The examiner will not get chance to give you marks because you should use the synonymous language as well as you try to use the paraphrasing as much as you can. For example, your answer maybe look like this. Do you like to swim? Indeed, I adore swimming since my childhood. Whenever I get free time, I go to the swimming pool which is nearby and I prefer swimming at least an hour. So I'm telling to the examiner, indeed, adore, love. You are just using the synonymous words. So try to learn the synonymous words for yes, no, perhaps, up to a point. These are all some things that you can actually use to give a variety of answers to the examiner. For example, if the examiner is asking you something about rain and you said that, yes, I love rain, for example. Do you like rain? Absolutely, I enjoy rain. Even I remember when I was a child, I used to get into the rain and got wet. And I remember my mom scolded me several times for this incident. Clear? So I try to narrate the thing. So I'm telling to the examiner, I love rain. So the examiner is asking to the second topic and he is asking, okay, do you like mirrors? Absolutely, I love mirrors. How the examiner will find a variety of answer in you? You always say yes, yes, yes. Please remember in the IELTS exam, you have the choice of saying the disagreement. For example, if you don't like, you can say no. Do you like flowers? I'm afraid I don't prefer flowers. Instead, I prefer just the fruit or something of that sort. You can actually say that. So, what you need to understand is that try to give a variety of answers in the part 1 question since it consists of 12 questions and would be varied topics of at least 3 topics or 4 topics. If for one topic you are saying yes, for the next topic you can say no, and for the next topic you may say maybe or perhaps. For example, the examiner is asking you, okay, do you prefer to go out for a walk in the evenings? Well, usually up to a point. Sometimes when I feel free, I usually prefer to go out for a walk. However, when I'm really busy, I don't really go out for a walk. So you are telling the contrast points that on one hand, when you are free, you want to go to walk. On the other hand, when you are not free, you are not interested to go out for a walk. So it depends upon your mood. So you can easily say, perhaps it depends upon my mood. On one hand, during the weekdays, if I have a tight schedule during my work, I don't prefer to go out for a walk. Rather, I prefer to lie down on my couch. I am using the contrary things. Please listen to me. Every answer is a varied answer. I'm just giving you the ideas, so you can just take down the ideas and you can just note it down and you practice by yourself. Clear? Remember, in the 12 questions, you try to give a variety of answers to the examiner, which means yes, no, maybe, perhaps, whatever it may be. Also, please do remember, you are having an option to say yes and no. Are you clear? Yes and no. So, right, the examiner is going to ask you the questions. Okay. What you are telling is that, so you are going to give a variety of answers to the examiner saying yes, no or perhaps. So this is the question, this is a variety of answers that you need to give to the examiner in part 1. Alright. So what are the other things that you can actually include in the part 1? In the part 1, you are allowed to use idioms and phrases and you can use the, even though or although statement. For example, the examiner is asking like something, do you like to swim? And you are saying, even though I don't prefer swimming, my friend prefers swimming or my friend adores swimming. And every time when he goes to swim, I usually have a companion with him. So you are telling to the examiner, see, I don't like swimming. However, my friend goes to swimming and I will usually accompany him. Companionship is accompanying. So you can actually refer to this and say a lot of examples like that. Are you clear? This is the detail about the part 1 question. Alright, let's move on into the part 2 question. Well, in the part 2 question, remember the examiner will give you a cue card and he will give you an answer sheet. So, you will be having 1 minute of preparation time. In the 1 minute of preparation time, you are going to read the question and you are going to take the notes. So, how we are going to take the notes? Always write the one word answer. The thing is that if you are going to tell about the story, for example, the examiner is asking you about what gift did you receive last time. Don't think about the gift that you received the last time. If it comes to your mind at that occasion, well and good, perfect. Suppose if it doesn't comes to your mind, don't worry about it. Any gift of your choice, you can just think of, because you have received so many awards, so many gifts during your lifetime. So you can just reckon any of the favorite gift and you can just explain it to the examiner. Don't waste your time in thinking about the gift. Instead, rather you can actually narrate your answer like a story. So, how to narrate your answer like a story, or how many minutes should you cover in this part 2 question? Well, in my opinion, I'll tell you one thing. Use the IBC technique, which means introduction, body and conclusion. First of all, when you receive the question, you can just give the preamble. Preamble is the introduction. So the preamble is just 1 line or 2 lines. For example, I told you like the examiner is asking you the question regarding your last gift. So you can say like this. Well, in my opinion, even though the gifts are not necessary, many people feel that the gift are precious thing. I started with the word even though intentionally in order to tell the examiner, see examiner, I really know this complex statement. Alright, and then I continued like the gifts are the precious things. Okay, so I'm just giving the preamble in 1 line and I'm going to body paragraph. In the body, I'm going to start answering all the bullet points. For example, like what was the last gift? First of all, I reckon, if my memory serves me correct, my dad presented me a toy car during my 10th birthday. Whatever it is, that's not at all a problem. You never think of the concepts or you will never think of the correct answer. Instead, the IELTS is the International English Language Test exam, where the examiner is actually looking for your English language, to your English proficiency. Never think of the perfect answer. Instead, think of the perfect English statements, or think of the perfect presentation that you can actually do. In the cue card round, you are allowed to have the complex statements, the idioms and phrases. You can explain all in all details about your feelings and all those things. For example, when the examiner is asking you, that is in the cue card round, one question. How do you felt about it? How do you felt about it? Okay, so you can say that, I reckon I have mixed feelings about that. Mixed feelings means you can actually say about the exhilaration, happy, sadness, down in the dumps, disappointed, grumpy. No, you can speak about anything, annoying. There are so many feelings that we have. Happy, sad, disappointment, angry, all those things. You can actually use the mix and match technique. You can tell about a variety of answers in the feelings section. This would actually eventually increase your marks. Even though I don't get grumpy, I feel about the exhilaration, whatever it is. So the thing is that when you want to say about the contrast, you can use the word even though. And the mixing of the feelings is a very good thing, that where you can actually tell a lot of things regarding the feelings and you have the exposure to explain the complex structures too. Clear? So, in the cue card round, you are expected to tell a story to the examiner where the story should be logical. That's all. Never try to find the correct answer. Instead, you try to use the correct vocabulary, or you try to use the correct grammar, or you try to use the correct statement stem. Clear? So, this is what actually expected in the cue card round. Well, and how many minutes can I speak in the cue card round? This is one of the most often questions that I got from the students. In my opinion, I'll tell you one thing very clearly. Repetition should be avoided in the IELTS exam. For example, if you run out of your ideas, don't worry. Just you can conclude your answer. I told you the IBC technique, the introduction, body and the conclusion. So how can you conclude? Never conclude your answer with therefore or hence. Instead, you can actually conclude the answer with overall, all in all, in the nutshell. Use these phrases so that the examiner clearly understand, okay, this girl is going to conclude the answer. That's completely perfect if you actually speak for 1 minute and 30 seconds. Never try to repeat your answer, instead conclude your answer. If you have the ideas, well and good, please extend your answer up to 2 minutes. But for some reasons, if you don't get answers or if you're running out of ideas, don't worry, try to conclude your answers overall. Don't worry about it. Okay, because if you speak for 1 minute and 30 seconds, that is enough for the IELTS examiner to assess your English level. Clear? So once you've done with the cue card round, the examiner will actually look at you very carefully. And my sincere advice is that try to avoid the eye contact in the cue card round. Please don't misunderstand that try to avoid the eye contact is that because you have the answer sheet in hand. So I would sincerely advise to look on into the answer sheet, develop your ideas and speak to the examiner. Never look into his eyes and you don't know what to speak. And you will start blabbering something which would actually reduce your marks. So the thing is that look on into your answer sheet, try to form the statement and speak. That's all. Don't worry about it. Okay? Because the examiner will observe you very closely. Sometimes this would be embarrassing. You don't know what to speak and how to speak. So don't worry about that because you are not going to answer just one question. You are going to answer a bunch of questions which will be around 3 questions or 4 questions. So you are going to speak continuously for 2 minutes. Okay? So the one thing that I would sincerely advise is that just take your paper, take the notes from the paper and then speak. Okay? Never look on into the eyesight of the examiner and you start, okay, what to speak, what not to speak. Don't worry about that. Okay, this is one of the biggest mistake that the IELTS aspirants are doing and I sincerely don't want you to do that. Alright, what are the other things that the examiner expects you in the cue card round? Try to use a variety of grammar. For example, you may tell an example from the past tense. You may tell a story from the past tense. You can use the present tense, you can use the future tense. Whatever it is. When the examiner gives you the question in the past tense, try to address the answer in the past tense and then you can actually tell a story in the present tense. For example, if the examiner in the cue card wants to discuss about your swimming experience, just for example, and you had a swimming experience in the past tense, not in the present tense, because when you were a child, you got the certifications for swimming. However, now due to severe work schedule or something of that sort, you don't get really time to involve in the swimming. So don't worry absolutely. So the thing is that you can tell the story in the past tense and come back to the present tense and you can tell, okay, though I really enjoy swimming, I really don't find time to enjoy now. Something of that sort, and that's completely acceptable. Also you can say, overall, if I would get a chance in the future, I would prefer to do the swimming practice. So you try to use the present tense, past tense and the future tense. Always try to address the questions in the tense which they has asked. Clear? This is all about the part 2 questions. Alright, what about the part 3 questions? Listen to me, part 3 is the most important thing in the IELTS exam. Part 1 actually gives you a very good impression to the examiner. Part 2, you are actually expressing your vocabulary, you are actually expressing your grammar part. And what about the part 3? Part 3 is all about telling your answers very clearly to the examiner, which is the extension of the ideas. Remember, in your opinion, what is the question? In your opinion, what is the answer? That's the thing. For example, suppose you don't like pets and the examiner is asking you about the question. Okay, what is your opinion about the people who are having pets? Well, in my opinion, I believe that pets are not necessary for human life. Though pets serves as a companionship for the elderly people, I prefer not to have the pets in the home because the neighbors will actually get annoyed by these pets. So you can tell like this. So what is your opinion? Remember, there is no right or wrong answer in the IELTS exam. So whatever you have in mind, you can actually speak. See, did you observe the answer? I have used yes and no. Okay, so you can say, you are free to express your opinion. So the thing is that you need to understand in your opinion what is the answer. That's all the question. Do you think that sport activities are mandatory for the school children? Absolutely. I really enjoy playing sports and I do recommend for the children to do the sport activities during their childhood, because these sport activities not only inculcate the teamwork into them, also it actually inculcates the spirit, the team spirit, or winning or losing is just a game. Okay, so they will actually develop a lot of self-confidence, as well as they will actually be bold enough to face all the situations, and they will never get of any thoughts regarding the suicide, whatever happens in their life. Clear? So the thing is that please do understand that if you don't really understand, okay, so the thing is that you are free to express your own opinions, whatever it may be yes or it may be no or it may be whatever it is. So you can actually explain whatever that is coming to your mind. Make sure in the part 3 you are free to express your own opinions. Please try to extend the answer also by providing the example. For example, the examiner is asking you the question, okay, do you think museums are mandatory in your country? Well, in my country, I prefer that museums are mandatory, because India is a country of rich heritage and cultural values. So I prefer that the young generation should be aware of that cultural heritage and values, and thereby museums play a pivotal role in explaining all these things. For example, the planetarium which is located in the Chennai, which actually depicts a lot of information regarding the planets and the space, where the young learners can learn a lot of things regarding this. So this is how you need to expand your answer. Make sure your answer should be very clear to the examiner so that the examiner will give you the marks. Hope I have given you a lot of information regarding the part 1 and part 2 and part 3. Okay, so please watch this video till the very end so that you can actually understand a lot of details. Take notes, prepare yourself, and take help of a mentor or the help of the certified IELTS tutor so that your speaking exam goes well, and hope you get the desired band in the first attempt itself. If you really like this video, please like and subscribe to our channel. Also, never forget to follow us in the Instagram so that you will get a daily dosage of the IELTS inspirations. Thank you.